Hello, I'm the Media Wiz, because Warrant Form wasn't enough. And, well, I'm back with a Media Wiz vlog, although it's not about a convention or a meetup or a store going to or whatever. Today we're going to be vlogging about a movie that I recently saw, and this movie is, of course, Let's Be Cops. Now, this vlog review is going to be spoiler heavy. I'll put in the title, spoiler alerts. So, you know, if Let's Be Cops means a lot to you, don't watch this vlog review, whatever. But with that in mind, let's talk about Let's Be Cops, or rather, vlog about Let's Be Cops. All right. So the title, the trailer, it's self-explanatory. Two guys, you know, Ryan and Justin, played by Justin is played by the Damon Wayans Jr. and the Ryan guy is played by I don't know his name, but like he appears in like a lot of those like sort of like he was the principal in 21 Jump Street and stuff like that. Like him and Damon Wayans Jr. like they're in like some kind of ABC sitcom that I don't watch. But anyway, so yeah, they basically, you know, they're both losers, you know. Basically, like, what was it they do? Like it starts with like them in like a karaoke bar reminiscing over like, you know, what, like, you know, I thought we agreed when we were 30 and we did nothing with our lives, we're gonna go back to Idaho. And you know, the Ryan guy, the white one, he like the only claim to fame he used to be some kind of big like football player, but he like lost the football game, or like he got an injury. That's why he didn't become a pro. Like that's like a running thing throughout the movie. He's like, you know, that's why you never go pro, man. You know. And like the only thing he's ever done outside of that was doing a herpes commercial, which that was pretty funny. You see it in the trailer, the very first trailer. And Justin, he works for a video game company, which honestly I'll give him credit. At least they didn't pull a grandma's boy and like try to like shell out some kind of big, you know, video game company like Xbox with grandma's boy. But you know, he works for a video game company, he has a douche boss, and like, that was kind of funny, like, he's like trying to pitch this idea for a game, he's like, you know, it's a game where you can be a cop, you know, you go around, you know, it's called Patrolman LA, and then like, his boss is just like, like, does he have superpowers, you know, like, he's pretty much like, he's kind of like Michael Bay in a way, it's like, you know, like, is there explosions, you know, we'll just, like, you know, it's like, you know, just, like, he basically just thinks that video games are, you do stuff blows up, like, that's basically him, he's basically Michael Bay of video games, and like, I don't want to spoil him because he's pretty funny, but like, you know, like he takes his idea for Patrolman and somehow warps it into a game about where you play as shirtless firemen versus zombies. Like that's what it was. It was like firemen versus zombies. It looked really dumb. So basically, you know, they've got nothing. These two guys, they got nothing to live for. They really got like nothing to look forward to in life. Eventually, they decide, like in the trailer they say it's a Halloween party, but like, or no, not a Halloween party, it was like a costume party, and they even bring that up, it's like, you know, it's the middle of July, and then spoiler alert, you get there, and then you find out it's like a masquerade party where everyone has like masks on. That was kind of funny, that part was pretty funny, I will admit. But like, yeah, and there's a joke you see in the trailer, like, the Ryan guy, the white guy, he jumps out with a sheet over his head looking like a ghost. Wayne punches him in the face, and then he just goes like, why'd you do that? Why'd you hit me? And he goes, I'm sorry, man, you don't sneak up on a brother like that. I'm like, and then I was like, wait a minute, I'm like, that's a joke from Haunted House 2, which, honestly, the joke was done way better than this. And no surprise that Haunted House 2 was pretty lame. I'll probably do a review of that eventually, but anyway. So, you know, you know, it's either ghosts or cops, and of course they go with cops. And basically, you know, it plays out from there. They go to the costume party, or the masquerade party, they're disliked, of course, you know, they're a bunch of losers. They leave, they walk the streets, like, back home, but then, of course, like, chicks are noticing them, people are obeying what they say, because they think they're actual legit cops. And, like, then the movie, like, it sort of, like, goes, like, turns into an actual sort of, like, buddy cop movie, because, like, there's this, like, restaurant that they constantly go to, and, of course, there's a mafia there, and, of course, there's a cute waitress that Damon Wayans Jr. has a crush on, and, of course, she starts dating him because she thinks he's a cop, but, of course, he isn't. Then what happens is like, you know, they start dating. Of course, you know, you're gonna have the liar revealed story come up, of course. What else happens? Like, there's one part where I like this, like, they even go full mile. Like, you see it in the trailer, like, the Ryan guy, he buys a cop car online. He puts like the lights on it, puts like stickers on it, you know, to make it look like they're legit cops. They go around, you know, there's a montage of them doing stuff like riding down the beach with like hot bikini babes and like going on a roller coaster, you know, driving around. They smoke weed in the cop car. That was kind of funny. What else happens? There's, God, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. But eventually, you know, they start getting deeper and deeper into this whole investigation. You know, these mafia guys, it turns out they have like a bar, or not bar, some kind of club hangout, like near the bad side of town, of course. And like, there's one part where, because they're doing a stakeout in this lady's house, which like, and the lady's like this like ugly like skank lady, but of course the Ryan guy somehow has the hots for her, and like, yeah, there's a running gag, you know, she constantly like is trying to be sexy, and he's the only one like that's turned on by it, and like, you know. They have this like little ginger kid with them, which, by the way, I know and like that's another thing. The Ryan guy, like when they show like earlier in the movie when they're being losers, they show like the Justin guy, the David Wayans, he's off at work, like at this like in like a cubicle, like his job sucks, and then like this guy, like the Ryan guy, all he does all day is hang out with kids and play football, and of course, like, you know, they're like, you know, like the kid like one of the like dick kids is like talking to like his dad. He's like, it's like the dad's like, who's that? And he just goes like, oh, you know, some loser thinks he's our coach. And then like there's only one kid in the entire group of kids that actually likes the guy, and it's the little ginger kid. And then like near the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he gives the little ginger kid like a badge, like, you know, like, you're my little deputy buddy. I'm like, you know, if you took Damon Wayans out of this and like you could totally make this a raunchy like a raunchy remake of what's that movie? The Disney movie, Nostalgia Critic Revita. You could totally make this a raunchy remake of Cop and a Half, which, you know, no one wants that, unless you do. You know, they stake out for a little. They stake this like whole investigation out. You have I want to say Alfred Molina. That's not the guy. Who's the guy? Andy Garcia. That's the guy. He's you know, he's the mob boss. You know, no, that was kind of a funny part. Like, they're like spying on them. Like, you know, they have like headsets and everything to hear what they're saying. And it's like, you know, they pull the thing of like, what movie did this? I want to say Beavis and Butthead Do America. That wasn't the movie. It was some. Like Dumb and Dumber, because like they're like, it's like, you know, the leader mafia, who's insane. Like, that guy was kind of funny because like every time you see him, one, he's always chewing gum. Why, I don't know, but like he's always like, every time he's like, so you want to fight me? I know you do. I'm just like, will you take that? What is he doing? Like, I don't know why he's chewing gum all the time, but he always has like this insane smile on his face. Like, I'm like, are you Jeff the Killer? What are you doing? But you know, that guy was pretty fun, I will admit. That guy was like, in terms of like insane villains, he was like he was just a makeup paint away from being like an Italian version of the Joker. But like, he's, yeah, like back to Andy Garcia. He's sitting down with this like the insane Italian dude, like mobster guy, and it's just like, he's like, what do you think these guys are? It's just like, it's like, you know, well, I checked their badges, they don't match. Well, what do you think they are? There's only one solution. They're feds. And then like, yeah, they're like listening to them, and they're like, yeah, we're black ops, dude. And they start like laughing, they high five. Excuse me. That was kind of funny. There's one part with this, now I remember I watched the movie, I saw the movie twice. Once I saw it, the first time I saw it, and then I saw it a second time. They have, I'm pretty sure this was Cat Williams. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the dude was Cat Williams. And he's playing like this. Now, very first time I saw it, I thought it was like supposed to be like Hispanic, like this like Mexican guy. I think like hearing his voice again, he kind of sounds like he's like doing this Jamaican thing. But like, yeah, he's all tatted up. He's like the kind of guy who he like drives their cargo car, but he has no idea what's in the cars. And of course, he becomes buddies with them. Like, eventually, like they interrogate him by duct taping him to a what was it, to an ironing table, and then they like spray like sink water in his face. And then eventually, you know, he's like, you know, all right, man, I'll tell you anything you want, man. And like, you know, they start playing like Damon Wayans' Junior's video game, and then eventually, like, this was funny. Eventually, like the Ryan guy gets the idea to disguise the Damon Wayans character to disguise himself as Cat Williams, and of course, you know, the girl he's dating just happens to be she's the woman again. The woman that Damon Wayans is a crush on is a waitress. But really her passion is makeup and effects. And so of course she comes down there, she like disguises him, and like that was pretty funny. And then like the funniest line he says is like in the scene is like he comes out, he just goes, "I look like someone just hit me in the face with Lil Wayne." I'm like, this is so true. And then eventually he puts the blanket, I'm like, oh my god, that's the best Lil Wayne costume ever. Oh god. But like, what happens else? So he infiltrates their club bar mafia thing. And the guy, he gives him like, he's like, "Toke this, man." Smokes it. And this is like, "Dude, you just smoke crystal meth." "I smoke crystal meth?" And like halfway, you know, like eventually like later in the scene he starts getting like more twitchy. He starts like smiling. He starts like saying crazy things. Like he's like they walk in, there's like, oh god, I gotta bring this up. They go downstairs like, cause like, you know, they find like a stairway and like in the back of the bar. And then they go down it, like they go down the stairs, and then you see like this like dungeon like with like different like hall like tunnel ways, and I'm like, is this that other movie that they just released, As Above, So Below? I'm like, are they gonna come across Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in this place? Whoa, but like they find like one of the tunnels, like there's like 3 tunnels. One of the tunnels leads to the restaurant that they keep infiltrating. And like that's what you find out. They just want control of both ends of the tunnel. That's why they constantly like. That's why the mobsters go to this restaurant a lot. But one of the other tunnels leads to like this like security room that has like all this like cop stuff in it. And then at one point like they walk in, they turn on the lights, and then Damon Wayans is just like, "Yeah," and then like he's like, "Yeah, look at all the guns." He's like, "Oh, I meant the lights." And then like later he's like, you know, "Man, you know what I want to do? I really want to build a Porsche." Or not a Porsche. He's like, "I want to build a porch. I'm not even really good with woodwork, but I want to build a porch right now." And then like halfway through the scene later, he's just like, "Dude, we're never going to build that porch. We just lied to ourselves." I'm just like, I'm sorry. That was funny. I don't know why, but that was so stupid. It was funny. Oh, I forgot to mention Rob Riggle's in it. Rob Riggle, if you don't know, he was the cop in The Hangover. He was the bad guy in 21 Jump Street. This one guy I was talking to in the lobby after the movie, he's like, "You know what I noticed about Rob Riggle? He's in movies about cops or he's playing a cop." I'm like, that's so true. I'm like, so true, right? But yeah, Rob Riggle, he's actually playing a pretty serious badass cop in this movie. There's one point where when they meet him, he pulls them over, and like they go to like this robbery, and I think that's the very first time you see Cat Williams. He has like this he's like this madman with a shovel. He's like ready to like mess with people up. But then there's this one fat dude who comes in. He's this fat bare ass naked dude comes in, and he's like Damon Wayans like tries to like body slam him, but he goes down like this. And then the guy's ass is like stationed like right this, like his balls are like in Damon Wayans' face. It's like, oh god, and like that's funny enough. But what the song they're playing during the scene is Wrecking Ball. I'm just like, oh god, like that's just even. I'm like, I didn't know what was more horrifying, the guy's balls or the fact they were playing Wrecking Ball. I couldn't tell. I'm trying to think what else. Like, yeah, and eventually, like, you know, like Rob Riggle thinks they're cops, and then eventually, you know, finds out. Which, by the way, you know, he finds out that they're not cops because Andy Garcia is actually playing an undercover cop. Or no. Andy Garcia. Spoiler alert. Sorry about that. Sorry for the late one. But Andy Garcia, like I mentioned, he's playing. He's playing a mobster who's playing an undercover cop who's really a mobster. So really, you know, he's just pretending to be an undercover cop just so he can like throw the cops off his tracks. But like, you know, he tells them that they're not real cops, and then eventually like they go down, like the Rob Riggle cop goes down to their station, to the mobster like hideout bar at the other side of town with the tunnels. And then like, you know, of course, you know, at that point in the movie, you know, our two heroes have had their falling out because they both insult each other. You know, Damon Wayans goes back and insults his boss for like not accepting his game, and eventually he sells them on the game to make it. And, you know, this entire time the Ryan character is like, you know, is like got kidnapped, he's being tortured, which that's another scene with the guy, the mobster, the Italian mobster Joker dude. He's like on like his like face cam phone. He's just like, it's like you want to see your friend alive. You're gonna have to come down here. He's like, he's gonna die. I'm just like, what is with this guy? He's loving this role. But anyway, Andy Garcia, you know, spoiler alert again. The Italian mobster Joker guy shoots Andy Garcia in the back because, you know, he's like I'm the head of this. He's like, I'm the head of this operation. I'm gonna run the shots. I'm just like, what? I'm like, this guy's just loving his role now. I'm sorry. One point. What happens? So Damon Wayans gets down there. He calls the Rob Riggle cop to come down, of course. And like eventually, you know, he finds out they're not real cops, and he tells them, you know, you guys get out of here. You're not real cops. You know, you might as well leave. And then like, of course, you know, they equip themselves with the cop guns. I'm like, now it's hot. I'm like, now it's Hot Fuzz. But like, they get equipped with like, you know, with like guns and like, you know, security, like, you know, like bulletproof vests. They run in there. They shoot at the people. At some of the mobsters. There's only there's only the crazy, insane Italian mobster left. So, you know, they're screwed. So, and then eventually they have like that sort of moment where it's just like, you know, I love this. It's like, you know, because like they're about to get, they're cornered, and then like they're hiding at the same time. And it's just like, Damon Wayans is like, I love it. It's like, yeah, I got something, like, if we're gonna die, I gotta tell you something. And then he just goes, the white guy, the Ryan dude goes, it's like, if you say I love you, I'm gonna punch you. He's like, well, what do you want me to say? It's like, you know, don't say I love you. And then he just goes, well, f*** you. And he just goes, that I like to hear. That was kind of funny. Eventually, you know, Rob Riggle, you know, sees that they're really heroes, and so, you know, he, like, the cop one, like, when his, like, other patrolmen say, you know, oh, are these guys with you? He goes, yes. And, like, eventually, like, they leave, and then, like, they leave the scene of the crime, they take their uniforms off, which, by the way, that's another running thing. When they're walking out, there's, like, people, like, patting them on the back and, like, nodding in approval in slow motion. And all throughout the movie, like, Damon Wayans' character has, like, a badge that says, like, Chang, and they're, like, the Ryan guy keeps calling him Chang and stuff like that. And, like, then when they're walking out, there's, like, this one Asian guy, of course, his badge is Chang, and he just goes, like, even he goes, I'm just like, nah, that's kind of funny. And, you know, eventually it shows, like, later what happens, you know, finally the Ryan guy finally becomes a real cop. Justin becomes like this big, like, becomes like one of the big CEOs. Although, and even though they didn't have an actual video game company, like, I think it was like Digital Paradise or something is what, like, the company was called, or Digital Empire, that's what it was. It wasn't Nintendo, it wasn't Xbox, it wasn't PlayStation or anything like that. It was Digital Empire. Even though they don't have an actual, like, brand name, they actually do have E3 in the movie. Because, like, you know, it has him leaving the scene, like, it shows him, like, showing off gameplay of the game, and he leaves E3. And then it ends with, you know, Ryan picking up in the cop car, and then, of course, we're on patrol, gotta roll, and they start speeding off, and Cat Williams is in the back, and then it ends with, like, a freeze of, like, them, like, their faces, like, and, like, oh, like that kind of thing. And then, like, during the credits, you got like outtakes and stuff. Well, not really outtakes, but like deleted ideas. They had like they take this, like, dude's, like, Ferrari, like, for like they say, like, oh, we have to examine your Ferrari. They get into a speed off. They get, like, hoes in there. They get some, like, hoes and prostitutes in their cop car. They start playing craps with a bunch of, like, criminals outside, and then you hear a cop car, and they go, cop, and they go, cops, and they start running away, and they take their money and stuff. That was kind of funny. And then, like, after that, I started thinking, I'm like, you know, I kind of wish this was what the movie was. Like, that's what, like, from what the trailer, like, had showed me, like, that's what I kind of wanted the movie to be. Sort of like a Hangover, Superbad type of movie where, you know, like, even in the title, let's be cops. Just, like, you know, like, that's what I was expecting. Sort of like, you know, for one night, like, you know, these two guys pretend to be cops for one night, and of course, you know, the next day, the cops find out what they did, and, you know, and then, like, it's sort of, like, I was expecting it sort of like a Superbad, sort of Pineapple Express kind of thing, but the movie itself, like, I like the plotline they came up with for the mobsters and stuff like that. That was decent. It just made me wish, you know, like, that was what it was, you know, just a whole night of pretending to be cops and crazy antics. Like, that's what I was kind of looking forward to, but they did a decent job. It wasn't bad. It was pretty funny. That's really the movie, you know. I'd recommend it. Go check it out, you know. it's not bad. Go check. It's decent. You know, it's not 100% great like laugh out loud, but if you're looking for some funny laughs, it's better than like movies like Haunted House 2 or stuff like that with like other like Wayans crap in it. Like, it's better than that. So yeah, go check out Let's Be Cops. Like, it's simple fun. I'm trying to think like what else to talk about. Like the audience, the audience wasn't that bad. Like, the audience, there wasn't like anyone talking or anything weird going on with the audience, so that was fine. I remember now. The trailers. I gotta talk about trailers before I go. No, okay, trailers. What did I get? Trailers. The Giver, The Giver just looks like they're trying to do Divergent, but with a classic book. I don't know, like, it doesn't look... Like, I remember reading The Giver, and it was a really good book, but this movie, it just looks like a typical Divergent action movie. It's just like, you really had to take The Giver, and like honestly, like, even the font, like, when they showed the logo for The Giver, I'm like, is this the Host 2? That's something I don't want. So there's that. What other trailers were there? There was... Oh, crap. There was this weird one with Johnny Depp, Mordecai. He's, like, playing this, like, famous sort of, like... I don't know what he is. Like, a detective? Famous something? Like, I was just, like it shows, like, Johnny Depp in a famous suit. Like, in, like, a fancy suit. And he's, like... of course, Johnny Depp playing an eccentric weirdo. The role he was born to play, I guess. But like there was some kind of funny part where like near the end he's just like he's talking about how famous he is. Someone goes like, "How famous are you?" He goes, "How famous are you?" And he like points to like this like guy behind him. He's like, "I have a manslave." And then I'm like, that's kind of funny. So there's Mordecai. That looks, I don't know. It doesn't look great, bad or good by any stand. Like, I don't really know where to approach it. If I Stay, which that looks eh. That looks like it looks like The Notebook if it was crossed with Ghost. Like, that's what it really looks like. Or no. Like, it looks like The Notebook mixed with like The Sixth Sense, or like Twilight meets Ghost or something like that. Like, it looks like one of those like sweet romance movies. But I do like the fact that it's like showing like being in a coma from the person. Like, instead of focusing on like the boyfriend, oh, he's worked so hard for her affection. It shows it from like the girl's like point of view and how she's like, you know, stuck in, you know, like she's just sort of, she's not stuck in heaven or hell or anything. She's just stuck in like, she's stuck on Earth, but no one knows her. No, like notices her. I like that. That was a pretty interesting concept. So that looks eh. Some sports movie, some famous sport movie that's coming out, like that looks interesting. Like, of course, like it's about a bunch of teenagers, you know, and they play sports, and of course the kids have like douchebag fathers, but of course, you know, eventually they just have to teach their dads to man up and sometimes break down and cry. I'm just like, okay, you know, that it looks cliche, but it looks fine. Like, it's definitely not my type of movie, but it looks alright. Like I said, I saw that movie twice. I got 2 extra trailers the next time. I got Maze Runner, which that looks pretty interesting. I like the idea. Like, you know, it's about people who are like kept in like this like containment, like sort of like jungle area, and the only way out is if you go like through this maze, and like no one's ever made it out of this maze. Honestly, like that looked like a way better version of The Giver than the actual Giver movie. So, like Maze Runner, I'll check it out. Like, that looks pretty decent. And the other movie I got, I don't remember the title. It was like Kingspa or something like that. Basically, like, okay, it looks like Men in Black, but instead of Men in Black, like government agents, it looks like a group of like British detectives. I don't know what, like, because like, okay, basically, like, you know, they're like, you know, we are the highest British, what was it they said? It was like, we are the highest British intelligence in the land, and like, you know, they're like a bunch of like detective guys, and then of course they pick up this cap cocked to the side, hoodie on, like, kid to join their ranks. And I'm just like, so it's Men in Black, but with British detectives? What? Like, there's like jokes like they're showing us like what their weapon wall, and he takes like a switchblade and he puts it in his pocket, and they go, put it back, and he like puts it back. He's like, oh, you're no fun. I'm like, so it's British Men in Black. I don't know. Those were the trailers. Like, yeah, honestly, worst trailer, I don't know. I don't want to say Giver because it looks like it has potential, but no. Why would you make it like a Divergent ripoff? Worst trailer, I honestly, I kind of want to say Mordecai because that just looks like a weird, stupid movie. It's either like worst trailer. It's either Mordecai or that Kingspa movie. I'm just judging it by the trailer. I'm not going to say that the movie itself is going to be bad. I'm just saying the trailer like didn't really sell me on it. Best trailer, honestly, Maze Runner. Maze Runner looked like really cool. So those are the trailers. You know, again, Let's Be Cops. It's a fun movie. Definitely check it out. So, well, that was that. So, I'm the Media Whiz because Smart Form wasn't enough.